Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. And we're back after a brief hiatus.
Yes, indeed. Somebody had a concert to go to.
Yep, I went to see Torp for a second year in a row. Always a good show if they come to town. You can kind of think of their music as it's like Daft Punk with a bit more of the 70s cranked up and less depressing.
Yes. If you are returning, welcome back. If you're new, what we do here is we critique stuff. We usually do something new or contemporary, pairing up with something older or classic. And one or both of us will have something solo that we'll talk about that we watched during the week. Our first review, of course, DB, get the screen up.
Just realized I'm out of practice, folks. You lose 1 week of muscle memory, and suddenly it all just goes away.
Yeah. I hate it when that happens. Here we go. We got our first review: "The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity." Of course, we're not going to say that title.
Yes, I might say fragrant or whatever, but yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, which is like classic anime titling.
Yeah.
Although it's the opposite of like isekai titling, where it's just like how I and 3 of my buddies from middle school and one guy we didn't like too much wanted to become the world's greatest mercenaries.
Yeah. Yes. Oh man. Isekai.
Do you know why light novels have titles like that? It's like really stupid when you find out.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me, and I can't remember what it was.
There was some fiction sharing website that because it was like Web 1.0 or whatever, or like barely Web 2.0, it had no tagging system for the stories, so you couldn't go by genre or title or keyword or anything.
Oh.
So the only way to have your story be discoverable on there was to have like, that time I became a vending machine or whatever.
Oh. Oh, jeez. But yeah, so I will say this is not an isekai. This is a teen romance comedy show, kind of in the vein of My Dress Up Darling. It's about this. So we get these 2 kids, Rintaro and what's her name?
1 second. Anyways, it's a new Netflix anime.
Yes, it's a new Netflix anime. And basically the crux of the show is you've got these two schools. You've got an all boys public school, and then you got an all girls private school that are right next to each other. And both the schools don't like each other.
Right. I should mention, I think that by definition, all high schools in Japan are sort of private. Like you have to try to get in, because I think they do actually have options. Like if you just get out of middle school and you go, I'm done with this, you can just move on with your life.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
At least that's my understanding. I could be mistaken, but yeah, you do notice that sometimes you'll be watching a show and somebody will make a reference to like high school entrance exams or something like that.
Oh yeah. Waguri. Waguri. Yeah, the Waguri is the girl's name.
Or at least Kaoruko Waguri. I'm going to guess that Waguri is her family name.
Okay, and then Karuko is her surname,
or first name, quote unquote.
Name, yeah.
Because the ko suffix is very commonly used for women's names. So
okay. Yeah,
and everyone just calls her Waguri all the time because everybody is extremely polite in this show, except when they aren't.
Yeah. Well, it's like a Dress Up Darling Gojo. They always call each other Gojo and Kitagawa.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Rintaro he's a really tall guy, which is kind of rare in Japan. I'm not sure what the average height is in Japan. Probably like what 5'6", 5'7", would you say?
Oops, I obviously want to show the search right there. Average height in Japan. It's approximately 5'7" and change.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. And Rintaro, I would say, is at least 6 feet tall.
Oh yeah, no. Towers over everybody, especially Waguri.
Yeah. Waguri is like probably maybe 5 feet.
If she's lucky.
Yeah.
He does mistake her for a middle school student at first.
Yes, he does. Yeah. And well, how they meet is Rintaro's mom owns a bakery that Wagiri she frequents, and they have a little they have a meet cute awkward moment, and then but then they start to get to know each other, and then but unfortunately at the end of the first episode they find out that sorry, I have a bug flying around me. They find out that they go to the rival schools.
Right. And while they themselves don't really have a problem with it, everyone else around them does. Because all the boys at the school, including Rintaro's friends, have a real chip in their shoulder about those stuck-up jerks at the school across the way. Yeah. And everybody there thinks that everybody at Rintaro's school is a idiot hooligan. And you know what? They're not entirely wrong.
Yeah.
In fact, nobody is actually wrong about the other side now that I think about it.
No, they're the stereotypes seem to be true. Yeah, they and so basically, like the first 4 episodes of the show, which that's all we've gotten so far. They're basically just trying to navigate the the social dynamics of their relationship, because they're both like very awkward and they don't know how to handle it. And of course, Rintaro, because of his height and the way he looks and like his, like facial expressions, everything, people make the assumption that he's this scary guy, when in reality, no, he's kind of like he's like a gentle giant, basically.
Yep. Meanwhile, Waguri is kind of, at least so far, she's kind of what she appears to be. A cute, dignified young lady, although I guess the subversion with her is that you would think that she was from money or something, which no, she is on that school on a scholarship. And also academics don't come easily to her, so she kind of has to force herself to do it. Yeah. Which actually kind of makes her like the academic version of Rock Lee from Naruto. The genius of hard work.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing too is that they play on a trope I've seen quite a bit in anime, where the tiny girl character is like a voracious eater.
Yes. We'll be having a lot of that today, actually. Although I guess the other character isn't quite so tiny, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean so far, it's kind of what you would expect in an anime like this. It's cute, but it's also got a lot of sentimentality to it, and it's got obviously the major conflict in the series is that kind of adds to the will they or won't they, which is the fact that they go to these 2 rival schools, and their friends don't like the other school. And so, and then what will they think if they find out that the 2 of them are friends, or perhaps maybe more than friends,
Right. And there's some interest to be found in that. But this was kind of my suggestion because I caught the first episode, and this is the type of show where you definitely want to get at least 3 episodes in, because there are a lot of these cute romance anime that I sample where they have a good they have a good meet cute. The characters themselves are appealing. It's like where a lot of series run aground is, okay, author, can you successfully introduce a 3rd character who doesn't feel like they're just dragging down the dynamic?
Yeah.
And I would say like partially successful here. Reintro's group of friends who are kind of a loose gang, and only like the loosest sense.
Yeah.
They're kind of amusing. They're just a bunch of chuckleheads where each one has like a different stereotype they're evoking.
Yeah. Yeah, the one friend you I think rightfully compared him to Ryuji from Persona 5.
Yeah, definitely the same makeup. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you had the one friend who's like he's probably like he's like the king of the school, but he's like the king of the losers basically.
Right. He's the man with one eye in the kingdom of the blind.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember that there's another friend in there, but he really doesn't do much.
There's like a couple of friends who haven't really impacted the plot much yet.
Yeah, yeah, and then she's got she has a best friend who is very protective of her,
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out in episode 4 why that's the case.
Yeah, Subaru.
Yeah.
And I gotta say that it's an interesting choice to have the uncomplicated character not be the romantic interest, because honestly, like Waguri is just so sweet and pure and demure and everything that
Yeah.
like a lot of series she would have been a supporting character, and they would have had the damaged character as the main romantic interest just to try to drive some extra conflict.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she would definitely be like one of Maureen's friends in Dress Up Darling.
Yeah, that's yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Which has the unfortunate thing that what's keeping them apart is again the Romeo and Juliet aspect of the rival schools, but also their own mutual awkwardness, which can get frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with Rintaro, because I just say, kid, man, you gotta nut up.
Right. It's not like a chip in his shoulder. It's just like he has a very self-defeating inner talk.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is very relatable, but also it's like much the same way that I watch TV shows to get things I don't get in real life. If I want negative self-talk, I just have to shut everything off and think for a minute.
Yeah.
Production-wise, this has very detailed animation. It's not the most fluid, but all the character designs are appealing, and again, just like they made good use of modern animation techniques to stack on detail. And Waguri in particular, like the animators love animating hers. Like you just feel like the love and attention to detail every time you get a close-up of her.
Yeah. 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 She's drawn very elegantly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I kept thinking about this as Dress Up Darling, but with a focus on dignity and adorableness instead of fan service.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have that awkward, like Maureen's in a bikini. Oh, she's only 15. Oh.
Yeah. Look, anime makers, just set a series in college occasionally, and you get rid of a lot of complaints.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm going to continue watching, but I know friends who, if they haven't already picked this up, would mainline this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It also is kind of amusing to me that it is a Netflix show because it kind of has Netflix pacing. Because if I like really break down what happened the 4th episode, there was a brief study session at a cafe, after which Subaru takes Rintaro aside and tries to explain why he should stay away from Waguri.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah, I thought maybe they were pacing it like the manga.
Probably. I actually have a hard time deciding if this, just based on the anime itself, if this is a shonen or a shoujo. Just because it's like, well, it's the guy's perspective, but it's also super interested in feelings.
Yeah. Makes me wonder if the creator was a woman.
Almost certainly. In fact, let's find out. Just happened to have it up.
I know that's the case with Dress Up Darling. I know that's a woman on that series.
Let's see here. Written by Saka Mikami, which Saka I think is a name that could be.
That could be a woman's.
Yeah, it could be. It doesn't have the convenient "ko" at the end of it to clue you in.
Yeah.
Okay, looking at this art style, this is almost certainly a shoujo series to my eyes.
Yeah.
In part because it doesn't have the best art.
Ooh.
Better than anything I could possibly make, but still.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, but it's no Demon Slayer.
No. Actually, speaking of which, I had forgotten to put this on our official schedule, but I think we've said our piece about this one.
Yes.
So in transitions, I guess this is Weeb Week because I was one of the millions of people in the U.S. who decided to go out and watch the new Demon Slayer movie.
I wish I had.
You might still have your chance because it was the top movie in the U.S. 2 weekends in a row. Cumulative net of $100 million, although it had like a 70% drop off the second weekend. So, but still, like it probably helps some theaters keep the lights on a bit longer.
Yeah, my only drawback is that I think it's like 2.5 hours, isn't it?
Maybe 2 hours. Let's find out.
Yeah, because I remember Alan Ning over at Film Threat side, and he said it was 2.5 hours.
Then I wouldn't doubt it, because basically what this is 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
So like the previous couple of Demon Slayer movies, and you can't see me doing finger quotes, but I'm heavily finger quoting here.
Yes.
It basically is the start of the next season cut together into a continuous movie, which has its ups and downs. This is the part of the storyline where our heroes have invaded the evil Muzan's Infinity Castle, hence the title, and they end up split up and in a series of it's almost like a video game boss rush. Everybody's just fighting different members of the upper six of Muzan's minions. And what I will say is that if you just wandered in off the street with a passing interest in anime and had never seen it, I think you could figure out what was going on well enough to appreciate the animation and the fight choreography, because there are some crazy fight scenes in this one. Studio UFO, it's either UFO table or Ufotable. I've never been sure if you separate it out or not.
Yeah.
They're animation royalty, especially for a Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
And you can just feel the passion and the time and care put into every frame of this thing.
Yeah.
The fights have weight. The choreography is creative. It surpasses what was in the original manga. Just because the original manga doesn't have the most detailed art style. I think it's almost I don't know if that's like a skill issue or if that's the artist trying to like intentionally evoke kind of classic woodblock prints. A little bit in the style, but I will say this thing is rated R. I had forgotten that the first movie was rated R. It definitely earns that R rating because a lot of unfortunate things happen, including lots of violence to women, as is the series wont.
Yeah, I seem to recall that. Yeah.
The other thing is that characters you like are going to die. I won't say which characters, but if you've watched the series, there are some tragic deaths.
Well, are any waifus?
Perhaps.
Oh no.
Yeah. This is definitely not a series that had a really happy ending.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But now I will say is that because it is like 5 episodes jammed together, It does have actually more than that if it's 2.5 hours, but it's going to be released as 3 movies apparently.
Oh.
It is it has kind of uneven pacing, although it isn't too noticeable at first because the first like half of it is just a series of high octane battles stacked on each other.
Mm.
And then they have a more typical battle, like the titular fight here with Tanjiro and the other 2 pictured here, where they're kind of avenging the death of the Flame Hashira from the Infinity Train movie.
Yeah, Rengoku.
Yeah, they're basically avenging him because that's the guy who killed him.
Right. Yes.
But you know how Demon Slayer works, where you killed the demon, then they take an episode of a flashback to tell you their backstory that you didn't know in advance.
Yeah, because you somehow you have to feel sympathy for people who eat other people, eat humans.
Yeah. Yeah. If I was to steelman that, I would say that it's trying to it's trying to like show you how like even a person who's in misfortune who makes the wrong choice can end up falling.
Yeah.
This case, though, they actually did an interesting subversion of it, just because of the nature of the guy's powers. Bugger's hard to put down. That's the other funny thing about Demon Slayer is that, to a certain extent, if the humans and demons were on the same playing field power-wise, the demons would be effed because the heroes are much more skilled than they are because they have to be more skilled than they are.
Oh, yeah, because you're talking about guys that can regenerate, and and of course, what gets me is like well, the only way to kill a demon is to cut the head off, but then they'll cut their head off, and then nothing happens.
Right, like if you're like one of the upper ones, like you can subvert that somehow. It's like, oh, if I can grab my head and force it back onto my body, I can regenerate. Or my that isn't my only head.
Yeah, like the entertainment arc.
Where, the twins, where you had to decapitate them both at the same time.
Yeah.
But I'm sounding more critical than I actually am because it was a good experience overall. It is the type of thing where the high octane action scenes are worth seeing in the theater. I don't know if I'd recommend it if you hadn't seen it before or the series as a whole before. But I could also make the case for if you have a good sound system at home. This is coming to Crunchyroll, so in the form of episodes eventually. So you can kick back and wait a bit.
Yeah, that's true.
It all just depends on how eager you are to see it.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Well, I've been waiting for this to come back for how long has it been? Like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they the way that last season ended, where they're all rushing in to kill Muzan, and then he just traps them all in the Infinity Castle. Like,
yeah. Well, it picks up right where it left off. So,
all right.
Well, speaking of demons and traps,
yes,
Daniel watched a movie.
Yes, I watched the movie from Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood. I had actually seen kind of clips from this movie throughout the years. Came out in the mid 90s. If you had HBO like I did growing up, you probably saw it pop up on there. They might have shown it.
I didn't have HBO. I want to say it popped up a couple of times on like FX or Sci-Fi or something.
Yeah, maybe even Comedy Central. But yeah, so this movie, it was part of. It's the second movie in a failed attempt by Tales from the Crypt to do an anthology movie series, like very much like the TV show. Because this movie bombed. It's so the basic premise of the movie is you've got the movie opens up kind of like an Indiana Jones movie, where you see these guys going traipsing through the jungle, and they're led by a guy named Vincent, who is played by a little person actor. Phil Fondacaro, and I've seen him in other movies. So they entered this tomb of a vampire named Lilith, who is the basically the queen of the vampires, and she's played by Angie Everhart, who was an old model who became an actress, and she was in a lot of these B movies throughout the 90s. And so he brings her. So Vincent brings Lilith back to life because he's got her heart, which is cut up into 4 pieces. And he brings the pieces back together, and then she puts the heart back in, and then she's revived. And then you come to find out that Vincent's actually working for this televangelist named Reverend J.C. Current, who's played by Chris Sarandon. Most people remember him from The Princess Bride. He was the king from that movie. Yeah. And he was married to Susan Sarandon at one time. So and his whole thing is that what ends up happening is they start a bordello in a funeral home, basically in the back or basement of a funeral home. And JC's whole thing is he's trying to get rid of these wicked fornicating sinners, and how he does it by having a whorehouse filled with vampires. And Lilith, her whole thing is she literally rips men's hearts out and eats them. Like, no, some obvious symbolism there. She literally eats their heart out. But what really gets the movie going is JC's assistant, Catherine, who's played by Erica Eleniak, who most people remember her from Baywatch. She was also she's the girl who pops out of the cake in Under Siege. If you've seen the movie, you know which scene I'm talking about. But so her what happens is her brother, who's played by Corey Feldman, decides to frequent the bordello, but then he goes missing, and she can't get the police to help her out. So just so happens to be Dennis Miller just so happens to be sitting in the police station. He plays what was his name? Rafe Gutman, who's a private investigator. He kind of plays him very sarcastic, kind of smarmy. He kind of reminded me of Bill Murray in Ghostbusters, kind of a similar personality.
That tracks, yeah.
Yeah. And so so Catherine reluctantly hires Gutman to find her brother. And then of course that's where it all takes off. And then, Gutman goes to the bordello and he finds out that there are vampires, and hijinks ensue in the most Tales from the Crypt way. So I think the movie is it's kind of a fun watch. I mean, if you're into like horror comedy, because it is a pure horror comedy, I would say.
Which is always a hard genre to sell people on.
It is, yeah. Joe Bob Briggs always says that the key to a good horror comedy is that it's 80% horror and 20% comedy. And I think this movie fits that ratio pretty well. Because Dennis Miller is like the 20%, that's the comedy.
Right. He's a character who you could write to be very straight-laced, but he's just very sarcastic.
Right, yeah. So from that standpoint, it was really good. And the whole setup I thought was kind of, it's kind of a funny little setup where like you have having a televangelist who, creates a whorehouse full of vampires to get, the evil fornicating sinning men. And by the way, yeah, JC is very much he's definitely one of those televangelists that gives Christianity a bad name.
The Joel Osteen types.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I will say, like, probably the running time was probably the biggest detriment of the movie, because it was, yeah, like 88 minutes. And they could have probably expanded the lore maybe a little bit, because one glaring plot hole in there is that how they keep Lilith in line is that they have this like talisman type thing that they call a key, and like when she touches it, it burns her. And it's like, but it's like, okay, well, what does the key do? How does it keep her in line? Like, how do they use it to, to keep them from, keep her from killing them? Well, in the words of Critical Drinker, don't know. And it's not like destroying the key, would kill her, because actually destroying the key actually sets her free. So it's like, what's the point? But other than that, I mean, it's, if this is your cup of tea, movie like this, then I definitely recommend it. Currently on Shudder. So is the other Tales from the Crypt movie called Demon Knight, which I have not seen that movie. But apparently, from what I've heard, Dennis Miller is not proud of this movie.
Huh. Like, okay, so I caught it on TV at least once, and I don't remember it super well, aside from the sarcastic way he, after he slept with some character, I forget who, like just his morning after persona was just very sarcastic.
Yeah.
And also the final scene where the way they deal with the villain is definitely one of the most, like, I feel like the whole movie was written as an excuse plot to get to that moment.
Probably, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Like as a visual, that is wildly creative.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And what's interesting too is I looked up like the people who were behind the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The story was actually, it said the story credits were Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis.
Huh.
Yeah. Which I would not expect those two guys to be involved with something like this.
Yeah, that's I guess everybody, like, if you're in the creative industry, you eventually want to stretch your arms and do something weird every once in a while. But
that's true. Yeah.
They definitely did something weird.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
But overall, would you recommend it to people?
I would recommend it for it's not for everybody, I don't think, because there is quite a lot of like I found the violence is kind of meant to be comedic, but there might be some people who get a little like weirded out by it, like Lilith taking a bite out of a human heart might get a little some people be like a little and there is
could be
yeah, and there's quite a bit of nudity too. But if none of that stuff bothers you, yeah, I'd give this movie a watch.
I was about to say, I don't remember there being any nudity. Then I remember the keywords that I probably watched on Sci-Fi Channel or FX. So
yeah, now all that was blurred out. Yeah, yeah, they cut it all out. Yeah. But yeah, I'd give it a watch. Yeah, it's fairly entertaining. Yeah.
Yep. Well, speaking of unusual combinations of things.
Yes.
So I finally dragged Daniel into watching one of these. Umamusume Pretty Derby, Cinderella Gray, the Amazon Prime exclusive spinoff.
Yes. Yeah, it's yeah. I can see why this series is becoming really popular. It's I was expecting Nekopara, and then I got a sports anime instead.
Yeah, that's so. What's funny about this series is that I think I mentioned this when I did my kind of brief and kind of too jumbled series overview a few months back. The series was first announced in 2018. Around the same time, they came out with an anime from a different studio, and then they had a 3-year hiatus when they realized, oh crap, people like the racing aspect of this series. We need to remake the game so it's less of a dating sim.
I would say that, and I would say that worked.
Yeah, because Cinderella Gray is the Road to the Top series that you can watch on YouTube was, I believe, their first production in-house, but this is a Cygames joint right here, starring Oguri Cap, who the real-life racehorse that she is based on was kind of credited with basically saving but revitalizing the Japanese racehorse scene in the 80s. He was the first one that they actually produced a plushie of because women were so into him.
Yeah. You showed me some pictures of him, and he was and there's a reason he was called they refer to him with the gray because he had very gray fur.
Right, which that is not a dominant pattern for racehorses.
No, it isn't. Yeah, usually brown or black.
Yep.
Yeah.
But okay, so in a world where horses never were, we're not going to question how that it would have impacted human series.
Yes.
Or human history, I meant to say.
Yes, because they were pretty important.
Occasionally, young women are born with horse ears and a tail, and frankly, superhuman strength and power. And the way that society has chosen to adapt them is to put them in track and field races against each other.
Yeah. And so in this series, we've got this this racing academy. I can't remember where it was. It's a very low tier academy. It's not the big one in Nagoya. It's a different one.
Because Cinderella, or excuse me, Oguri is from the sticks.
Yes, she's from the sticks, and she's very kind of clueless.
Yes. When a buddy of mine showed me the first episode of this, I immediately said, "Aha, horse Goku," because all she's interested in is sleeping, eating, and racing.
Yeah. She shows up to class in her tracksuit, and it's all dirty, and she's all dirty and sweaty, and and of course a bunch of the other horse girls start picking on her, and of course she's completely oblivious to this, but they quickly find out, but they quickly realize that she's actually very talented, like she's really fast. And she's got her coach. What was his name?
I see my character list up here to the side. Joe Kitahara.
Yeah, and he's very eager to find the next great horse girl, superstar horse girl, and thinks he's found her with Oguri. Is it Oguru? Oguri. But they basically, the first 3 episodes are her like training, and then they have the one race where she's racing the one horse girl who ends up who's basically her rival, March, who really doesn't like Oguri because she's like because what was it, the Tetsuko Cup? Is that what it was? The big
Tokino
race
Cup, maybe? I forget.
Cup, yeah.
I'm probably misremembering it. It's not one of it's like a big regional race, but not like one of the ones that I've seen the name of 100 times playing the game. So
yeah. It's not like the American version would be like the Kentucky Derby,
right?
She's like they have this budding rivalry going, and of course Joe teaches Oguri a secret for how she can win races by like really digging her foot in the dirt and then launching herself. There's something else I was going to mention. Oh yeah, so like the third episode, which where she actually does win a race, And is this very common with the in the other shows and the game where like the horse girl wins a race, they have to do it. They do a victory dance.
Yes, that is part of the DNA of the series from when it was going to be more of an idle game slash idol as an IDOL game slash girlfriend simulator more than it is which like if you play the game and you win a race, or actually even if you just finish a race, you can watch the winners have to put on a performance.
Yeah.
But since this is a race out in the sticks, you don't get a full song and dance routine with like multiple person choreography. You just get the winner having to do something.
Yeah, and with Oguri, she basically does like a traditional Japanese dance, which everybody's just kind of like, oh, okay.
We were expecting J-pop.
Yeah. But yeah, so like so they have like she has these like trio of bully girls that are picking on her, and one of them was the redhead who's like her roommate, but she's like, oh, I have a lot of stuff, just
and then she like takes Oguri to a storage closet, and Oguri is like, wait, there's 4 walls and lights, this room is great.
Yeah. Yeah, and but by the end of the 3rd episode, after Oguri beats her in the race, she's like, oh, okay, you're all right.
Yeah, so interesting thing about this series is that those 3 characters may have been loosely based on some real horses, but they are original characters, which is why they were allowed to actually be villainous.
Okay.
Because that's one of the interesting rules of the series is that you're basically like, I'm just going to like imagine that they had pretty Super Bowl football girls and they were adapting like great American greats of the sport as cute anime girls. The John Madden estate would not allow him to be portrayed as an actual bully or cheater.
Yeah. Or if based on Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Tom Brady's the better example because he actually was caught being shady many times.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady chant would not be allowed to actually be a legit cheater because, the owners of the likeness of these horses, they want to be able to sell merchandise. And Cygames wants the character to be admirable and sympathetic so that when they add them to the game, you want to spend hundreds of dollars trying to pull them.
Yeah.
So it's like basically if you have a character who is like legitimately evil or shady or mean, they're probably a pastiche of somebody.
Okay, yeah. And wasn't you was telling me that a lot of the horses were actually owned by the Yakuza?
So I want to make a minor correction. The whole no looting the horse girl things because the Yakuza will come for you thing is probably an exaggeration / internet meme more than an actual factual thing. I have not done enough independent research to say how much the Yakuza has to do with it, but it's a enterprise that heavily involves gambling. And this was a time period before the Yakuza was kind of driven underground after a Yakuza war that was fought in public, kind of made everybody turn on them. So there's got to be some sort of organized crime involvement because how do you avoid it when you have a suspicious industry like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like Las Vegas back in the 60s.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've watched the first 3 episodes. I think I'll tune into the rest of the season. See how it goes.
Yeah, and it's been a pretty big hit. This is based on a manga that's been running for many years now, which is why the series has a somewhat different art style than other parts of the media because they're just imitating his style.
Yeah.
What I will say is that apparently there's enough plot that it's still ongoing to this day, and I think it must be at least 3 or 4 years old at this point.
Wow.
because Oguri had a long and varied career.
Hmm.
Also, there's like a very 70s aesthetic to the feel to it, even though everybody has smartphones and Oguri Cap was active in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
That's like the coach over here, like with that hat and style here, like he would not be out of place in the 70s giant robot show.
Yeah.
Another amusing thing, there's this minor character Belno over here. I saw somebody pointing out that they did they do a detailed job with the body language. Like one scene where Oguri is being bullied, she like flattens her ears down and bares her teeth, which is basically Horse for back off or you're getting bitten.
Yeah.
When she's trying to like defend her friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like autistic levels of detail run heavily through this whole franchise.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, you want it to be authentic. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where like I keep finding out things about Oguri that because I keep getting bombarded with YouTube shorts where somebody says, "Hey, quick fact about Oguri Cap." Apparently, the real horse ate more than everyone else, ate faster than everybody else, and ate things that are normally distasteful and mildly toxic to horses, like garlic.
Oh,
he was just a like pure glutton.
Pure wow. And that fits with her because that's all she does is eat. Just piles of food.
More food than her body mass.
Yeah. In the first episode, she eats all that. Eats a whole bunch of food, and she's already got a gut.
But yeah, so we mentioned at the start of it that it's available on Amazon Prime. So if this sounds remotely interesting, I keep hearing people, and this was kind of my reaction to it too, is like, how is this series so good? Like, because like it's better than most sports anime I've seen that are their own standalone things. I don't know how you do it.
Well, the people working on it have a lot of passion for the series, and they probably were horse racing fans.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, speaking of throwbacks to the 70s, hey, I actually managed to make up a transition there. Pretty good for live. Our classic movie of the night is Dazed and Confused.
All right.
Man, like that series cemented the man's reputation forever.
Yes, it did.
Or at least his persona forever.
Oh, yeah. So Dazed and Confused is the 90s slice of life comedy set in 1976 from a writer-director Richard Linklater, who also did movies like Boyhood. He also wrote and directed the Glenn Powell movie that DB and I reviewed, Hitman, which was not terribly good.
I guess what I'll say is that it was shot and looked like a TV movie, probably because he had a TV movie budget.
Yeah, more than likely. Although I will say the one thing I did like about that movie was the montage of Glenn Powell doing all the Hitman personas. I like that part of it.
Well, that's because that's the part that was kind of based on the real story and not them just making up a romance for the sake of making it a quick sidebar. I keep finding that with Netflix based on true story movies. Just sit down Fat Electrician or somebody in his style and have him make an hour-long documentary.
Yeah.
It's going to be much more interesting than you actually trying to dramatize it.
Yeah, exactly. But this movie, it's got a very large cast. Who at the time a lot of them were unknowns, but then they became known once this movie came out, like Matthew McConaughey. You also had Ben Affleck, And we were kind of speculating that maybe Richard Linklater and Kevin Smith were friends, since Ben Affleck is in this movie, and also uh, Joey Lauren Adams is in this. For those of you who don't know who she is, she was Amy in Chasing Amy.
Yeah, if they weren't friends when this movie was in production, I would be startled if they didn't. They seem to travel in the same circles and have a very similar sort of artistic oeuvre.
Yeah, exactly. But the movie
actually
takes,
just to cast a little bit of shade here.
Yeah.
If you told me this was a Kevin Smith movie, I'd go, man, this is better directed than he usually does.
Ooh.
Look, I mean, the man got his start basically making a black and white movie in 1993 because it was cheaper to edit, and he could integrate footage from the security cameras at the convenience store where they shot Clerks. So
yeah, and he still managed to max out, I think, like 3 credit cards making the movie.
But, yeah, I mean, this was back in the days where I recall that I think it was George Romero, not George Romero. Who's the guy who disgraced himself with the recent Star Wars stuff?
Lucas.
The actual
Lucas.
The actual serious director. Not that Lucas isn't a serious director, but I can't think of his name. But it's like the guy who did like the zombie movies who ended up doing a few episodes of The Mandalorian.
Rodriguez.
Robert Rodriguez. Film editing was so expensive back in the day that was like Rodriguez's big expense when he was making his own movie for the first time.
Oh yeah. Oh man. But
I guess we should get back to this movie.
But yeah, let's go back to this movie. Yeah. So it's also on the cast. So like on the poster, for instance, it's weird. You got Milla Jovovich on the poster here. I think she has like one line in the whole movie.
Yeah, she's only around like the first part, right?
Yeah, and she pops in a few scenes here and there. She's like the boyfriend or like the girlfriend of the dope dealer. And then you got the guy in the corner next to her. His name's Rory Cochrane. He's been in other Linklater movies. And then the main guy in the movie, the actor's name is Jason London, who I think he had a lot of substance issues in his career, so he didn't really. And I can't remember the guy in the top right. I can't really see him very well. But actually, I think he was one of the football players with the. Yeah, so Jason London's character, Randall Pink Floyd, he's the quarterback of the high school football team, and then the other guy here is also on the football team. But yeah, the movie takes place. It's 1976 in Austin, Texas, and they filmed it in Austin. Like if you. For those of you who don't know, I lived in Austin, Texas for 17 years. This movie's like required viewing if you're going to live in that city. Like, because like everybody mentions it, like, and like the filming locations where they were filming that, like they're like there's memorabilia from the movie, in these places, like Top Notch, for instance. Like I used to eat at Top Notch all the time. It's their burgers were really good. They had a charcoal grill inside, and that's where they cooked it on. So the burgers had that charcoal smell and taste to them. And the fries were not soggy. I don't know why they said the fries were soggy.
This movie also had people claiming that George Washington came home every day and Martha brought him a bowl of weed.
Yeah.
And that was the primary cash-making crop. Which is like I think there's a hint of truth in that, since they did grow hemp for rope making purposes. Yeah,
but they weren't growing it to smoke it. But yeah, and also to where the billiard hall, the pool hall was, that whole shopping area. There's right there on the corner, like, so that when they're pulling in, McConaughey's pulling in with his car, and he says, "Does the all right." right there on the corner. I can't remember what the restaurant was called in the movie, but in real life, that's a barbecue restaurant called Style Switch, and I used to eat there quite often too. It's one of those like real popular Austin barbecue restaurants. But enough of me talking about Austin landmarks.
I mean, you're kind of giving us a good preparation for what watching the movie is like, because it doesn't really have like it isn't like there's a deep story to it. It's like one night in Austin.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's the last day of school before summer break. And it's basically two different groups of kids. You've got the group of kids who are going into their senior year, and then the other kids who are starting their freshman year. And one of the hooks or the parts of the plot is that during the summer, the seniors are hazing the freshmen, and the boys haze the boys by paddling them.
With rugby paddles, yeah.
Rugby paddles, yeah.
Not rugby. Excuse me. Cricket bat looking things.
Cricket, yeah. Rugby's, yeah. And the girls are basically like they're just like have a bunch of stuff dumped on them, and like mustard, and
oatmeal,
ketchup, and yeah. And then it all kind of like culminates with this party that they have out in the greens, out in this park. Basically I would say like kind of like the big like conflict in the movie, it was with Jason London's character, Randall Pink Floyd, who's, like I said, he's the quarterback of the football team, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the football players because they're like, oh, they want to have a really great year, and they're for their senior year, maybe like state championship kind of thing. And they make them all sign this pledge that they're not going to drink or smoke or do any drugs or anything like that. And Pink Floyd's just like, nah, I don't know. I'm not gonna do that, because he's really not sure about his future. He doesn't know if he wants to play football or smoke pot. Basically.
Pretty much. It's like a series of coming of age stories, like mixed with a more slice of life than your typical cute girls doing cute things anime.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of I would say like there's like a couple of through lines, but it's mostly like vignettes and character studies.
Yeah, like another example, like Ben Affleck's character, who's like, he's his second year as a senior in high school.
Yeah, so he got to haze people twice.
And you have like the intellectual kids, like the one guy who what was the actor's name? Adam Goldberg, who I remember him from Saving Private Ryan. He wants to be an ACLU lawyer. Like, what?
Yeah, that's a random thing to decide to be in high school.
Yeah. And his buddy was played by Anthony Rapp, who most recently he was on Star Trek Discovery.
We won't hold that against him too badly.
Yeah, we won't. Yeah, but he was one of the original cast members of Rent. He was in there with what's her name from Wicked.
Idina Menzel, or
yeah, Idina Menzel. Yeah, and the one the guy who played Joe West on The Flash, the CW Flash, was in that. He was part of that cast too.
Okay. I will say this is a pretty stacked cast in retrospect, but not at the time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But also too, real quick, I want to kind of mention, like, with Matthew McConaughey, how he got in the movie. So he was telling the story. I think he was given commencement. It was commencement address. I can't remember what the school was, but he was telling the story when he was in the movie. he was actually only supposed to be in like a couple of scenes, but he kept showing up to the set, and he was actually like one of the few actors or people who kept like consistently showing up to the movie to work, and so Linklater just kept writing more scenes for him. And,
so that explains, which is kind of perfect for his old pervert character who likes to chase high school girls, because him like just randomly showing up unwanted and without like an obvious place for it is so the point of his character.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I love high school girls. I keep getting older, but they stay the
same age.
Which, incidentally, the man's a monster when you get down to it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. What gets me is when the nerdy kids, you know, they're sitting there at the drive-in at Top Notch, and he pulls in and he starts hitting on the girl.
Yeah.
They're like we were 3 years old when he graduated from high school. Ugh.
The other thing I'll say about this movie is, so I made the little slide at Kevin Smith earlier. I have affection for Kevin Smith, more so than many people in our circles, I think. But like, there's nothing that's shot quite as dynamically and interestingly as the scene where the poor soon-to-be high school student gets mercilessly paddled to the tune of "No More Mr. Nice Guy."
Oh yeah, yeah.
So amazingly shot that Family Guy just ripped the scene off wholesale for a bit with Chris Griffin.
Yeah. Yeah, even in one of them, I think the guy even looked like Ben Affleck, didn't he? In the Family Guy spoof.
It's been a while since I saw that clip, but as soon as I watched this, a core memory unlocked of a Family Guy bit I'd seen.
Yeah, yeah. I had the same reaction too. Yeah.
The movie that we've watched that this is the most like is American Graffiti, but it's like American Graffiti if it had been done by Kevin Smith, is my analogy for things coming in, because it's very raunchy, it's very depraved, but in like sort of a light, off kilter way. Like not that you shouldn't take anything too seriously in it, because it is just basically a bunch of kids messing around at the end of the year.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, and if you're into like slice of life, you know, comedies like this, you know, but you know, and if you're interested in seeing what my old hometown looks like, you know, give this movie a watch.
Dude, the other scene that really like stuck out to me, it's been a bit since I watched it, so let's see if I mentioned.
Yeah, we watched this last week.
Yeah, so somebody had to cancel last minute, so my apologies there.
Right.
But the scene I really like, I think encapsulates the sensibilities of this movie. So the kid's stuck into or at least one kid is snuck into a liquor store.
Oh yeah.
And they have this deliberate camera pan, and you have the guy at the counter talking to a customer. Now listen, you got to eat something green every day and get plenty of sleep. And the camera pans down, and first you see that this woman is, maybe it was a pan up. I think it was a pan up.
Yeah.
Actually, do you see that she's smoking first, or do you see that she's pregnant first? I can't recall which.
I think you see that she's pregnant, yeah, and then then you see her smoking, yeah.
It's like, as he's giving her this lecture, eat something green every day and get lots of vitamins, or lots of folate, or whatever it was. Hey, all right, you got that, Claire? Cool, yeah, great. I'll see you tomorrow. And she walks away with a 6-pack.
Yeah,
that is the slightly demented sense of humor of this movie. It's just so perfectly done. It's just like, it loves juxtaposition jokes, is the way I would put it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like and another scene where, like, at the beginning of the movie, where one of the kids is in the shop class and he's making the cricket bat. He's got the goggles sitting on top of his forehead as he's like sawing it, and then you see a sign in the back that says, "Wear your goggles at all times."
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Yeah, it's the movie it most resembles is that we've done is American Graffiti. Like I said, like I think I said, and it's interesting that this one had about as much distance between when it was made and when it was set as American Graffiti did from its place of origin. And they're both semi-biographical stories of the director, which tells me that where George, I believe, George was a hot rodder who I only got into filmmaking because he hurt himself, as memory serves.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder what this director was up to.
Oh well, I'm sure he was doing some stuff. Yeah, I mean he was
no good. That's what he was probably
up to no good. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, this movie is on Netflix until Monday, I think.
Okay, so since we're going to have quite a few reviews back to back, maybe we note to future Daniel, maybe we should release this one first.
Yeah, there's probably and that would be a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Agreed.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, buy some books, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Good night. I think for the